Now, hoops fans today are reacting to a clip that's starting to make the rounds where he is savagely throwing shade, and you can tell he's throwing shade directly at South Carolina, directly at Dawn Staley.
Did you catch Dawn Staley's emotional reaction on the sidelines with 14 minutes left in the third quarter? She was in tears as Geno Auriemma's UConn team took control against South Carolina. But there's more to this story. Geno's comments after the game have everyone in the basketball world talking. He made a bold point about the difference between statues and championships shaking up the entire college sports scene. This wasn't just a dig. Geno reshaped the conversation about what it truly means to build a lasting legacy compared to celebrating short-term wins.
This will live in infamy forever. This will follow this coach.
Geno's words hit hard. Diving right into the heart of championship culture, Dawn Staley clearly felt the sting, and in just a moment, you'll hear what he said that flipped the script. The moment that's still getting people talking happened with 14 minutes left in the third quarter. Normally calm and collected, Cy broke down as UConn began pulling ahead. It was an emotional scene, tears on her face, arms flailing in frustration. An outburst that stunned everyone watching the championship game.
Right. The F-bomb tirade meltdown on the side of the court. I'm still baffled as I let this play. I'm still baffled that this is, with time left in the third quarter, down by only 4.
What makes this meltdown so shocking is the context. South Carolina was only trailing by 10 points, a gap that's still manageable in basketball, especially with plenty of time left in the game. For a coach like Staley, known for her mental toughness and calm under pressure, this outburst was a red flag that something was deeply off. It was like a dam finally breaking under strain, years of composure suddenly falling apart.
You know, I mean, I see this, I'm like, I would think, number one, I think it's unprofessional to do it at any point, right? To let your team see you break down like this, so weak and pathetic. But to do it with that kind of time left in the game is just a real shaking my head kind of moment.
The camera captured every painful moment of her emotional breakdown. You'd see her frustration turn into disbelief, followed by what seemed like a quiet acceptance of defeat. All while UConn calmly carried out their game plan. The announcers kept pointing out how unusual this was for the usually composed Staley. One even mentioned that in all her years of coaching they'd never seen her react like this before. Next voice. Next voice. Social media exploded right away. Fans took to Twitter criticizing Dawn Staley's reaction as too early and unprofessional. One tweet went viral saying, "How are you going to cry with a whole quarter left that's showing your team you've already given up?" Others pointed out that true champions stay composed until the very end, a quiet reference to Geno Auriemma's calm demeanor even when facing defeat.
Dawn Staley crying when her team is down by 13 with over a quarter to go is one of the softest things I've seen in sports.
The moment was even more powerful because it wasn't just any opponent. It was UConn and Geno Auriemma, the program and coach that have set the standard for excellence in women's college basketball for decades. Showing vulnerability against them in particular added even more weight to the situation in basketball world.
Down here says losing to a straight white man was her worst nightmare.
Dawn Staley struggled on the sidelines. Geno Auriemma was quietly executing what would become one of the most strategic psychological moves in championship history. This wasn't just a coach celebrating a victory, it was a master of mental strategy, making a statement, setting a clear hierarchy in women's basketball that reverberated across the entire sport.
This leads us over to Geno right here. All right, he's going to say some words during this speech that are aimed directly at other schools, particularly South Carolina.
And that's when he dropped one of the coldest, most iconic lines in basketball history.
Stairs were in the patio area, and I looked around and I started counting. all the former players that was there. At one time, sitting like in a group like these guys, just hanging out, doing, you know, stuff you do after you're celebrating a win. I was watching, I was counting, and by the time I finished counting, let's see, there's Rebecca, she has one, and there's Jamel Elliott, she has one, and there's Jen Rosati, she has one, and there's Sue, she has two, and then there's Jessica Moore, she has three, and then there's Stewie and Tuck, and they have four each. So all the guys that only had one, they had to sit like in the back of the bus.
Did you catch that at some schools? If you win a championship, they build you a statue. At UConn, if you win a championship, you might not even get to stay at the front of the bus. With those words, Geno landed a powerful punch that shook the basketball world. The message was clear. Dawn Staley's statue stands proudly outside South Carolina's arena after just one championship win, as does A.A. Wilson, who led the team to a single title.
Places, if you win one national championship, they build a statue to you outside the building. Here, they won't even let you get to the front of the bus. So by the time I finished counting, I had counted, just sitting there, 27 national.
While at UConn, players like Breanna Stewart quietly earned 4 straight national titles. Yet, here's not a single statue on campus for them. The difference is clear. At South Carolina, A.A. Wilson has a statue for winning one championship, while at UConn, even their most decorated players are held to a higher standard. Next voice, next voice. Most coaches, when they win a championship, thank their players, praise the competition, and enjoy the moment. But Geno used his platform differently. Instead of celebrating his own achievements, he started highlighting the multiple championships won by former players sitting right there in the crowd. He built up to that unforgettable remark about statues versus bus seating. Geno's comment stings because it's based in reality. The numbers speak for themselves. Minus 12 championships for Geno, compared to South Carolina's 2. Under Staley, UConn's culture is built on sustained excellence, where winning once is just the start of the journey.
All this is, he said, in most other places, they might build a statue to you. Well, it's funny you should say that, Geno. Guys, if you don't know what this is a statue right here, you guessed it, of Dawn Staley. All right, that's a statue of Dawn Staley right there as you're looking at it.
This is pure psychological strategy at its finest. Geno Auriemma creates a clear divide between UConn and the rest of the basketball world by making it clear that the achievements celebrated at other programs would be seen as just the starting point at his. It's like comparing someone thrilled about getting your first apartment to someone who owns an entire real estate empire. The basketball world instantly got the message. There are programs that occasionally win championships, and then there's UConn operating in a league at its own where excellence is the standard every single season.
You want to know whose statue this is right here? Right there. Right there. A'ja Wilson.
This is pure psychological strategy at its finest. Geno Auriemma creates a clear divide between UConn and the rest of the basketball world by making it clear that the achievements celebrated at other programs would be seen as just the starting point at his. It's like comparing someone thrilled about getting your first apartment to someone who owns an entire real estate empire. The basketball world instantly got the message. There are programs that occasionally win championships, and then there's UConn operating in a league at its own where excellence is the standard every single season.
Geno flexing about UConn being the undisputed gold standard in women's basketball is right. I honestly hope he coaches until he can't anymore.
The UConn Huskies, a program synonymous with women's basketball dominance, was struggling to find its identity in a transformed college basketball landscape. Geno pinpointed the exact moment everything changed for his team. Their first loss was to South Carolina, he explained to Dan Patrick. Next voice, next voice. The first big matchup became their guiding light. Even though they lost, they realized something vital. They could compete with the best. That moment changed everything, turning them from a potential bubble team into a legitimate championship contender. It was like a phoenix rising from the ashes of early season setbacks, but the challenges went beyond just what happened on the court. Geno pointed out how today's players face more distractions than ever with the transfer portal and NIL deals. He said every player is essentially a free agent 24/7. These new dynamics created tough hurdles as he worked to rebuild his team's confidence. Thanks for watching.
Build a statue for Insecure Asia for winning 1 title. What should UConn build for Jefferson, Tuck, and Stewie for winning 4?